So I tell you all that there was a lot of interesting things happening today. I put on my liberal meter, and it was actually my liberal detector. And my liberal detector was Richard Nixon for president collectible pin. Big pin, you know. Big pin, you can, a button, paper button, archaic. I bought it in a thrift shop. It was selling for $50, but the thrift shop was in New York, so I asked the owner of the store, who's going to pay you $50 from New York? Who in New York is going to pay you $50? So he sold it to me for $5. How about them apples? So I was enjoying this parade. We've been doing this parade, my God, since way before I moved to Key Biscayne. Imagine the parade's been going on since the 60s, I suppose. Maybe late 60s. Someone correct me on that if I'm wrong. But today it's a parade for resident aliens. It's quite a thought. Colombians, Venezuelans, Argentines, Spaniards, Mexicans, well-to-do in their own right, watching our parade, saying to themselves, what is it about this great United States that has the whole world flocking to it? Well, it's simple freedom with limited corruption. Yes, of course, corruption exists everywhere. Where there's power and money, there's corruption. But not the corruption that they seem to understand and see very vividly in their countries. And oftentimes, without voices, conservative voices out there, without people who have come before me and come after me and speaking up. I mean, what are the chances in any other country that a person like myself with my upbringing can lose his freedom of speech for 1 mile in a very public event amongst many brain-dead enemies that I had, all about education and really educating their children? How can they undermine their children that way and then deny me my freedom of speech and buy it back with a radio license? So I lose it for 1 mile and buy it back for 10. And I was pondering that thought all day today while I was watching the parade, and all my homies, everybody from the past, all the key rats, all discussing their high crimes and misdemeanors. In order to be a key rat, I guess you got to do naughty things. So we were laughing and we're parents now, parents as we be, we have to deny all these things to our children so that they are somewhat improved, one generation removed from being a rat. But what I really find really incredible is our freedoms are defended by less than 1% of our population. 1% of hardcore Americans are serving our military so that we can prance around on Crandon Boulevard enjoying freedom. And what happens to a lot of people, they don't want to talk about politics. Hey, let's all be happy today, because, it's discouraging when you talk about politics because arguments break out. I don't have a problem with arguments. I like doing battle, intellectual battle, but I don't like listening to nonsense either. So, yeah, I hold these truths to be self-evident, that our founders created a nation for everybody to have equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. And that was eloquently said by my good friend Dr. Alfredo Rabasa. If you're out there listening and you know Alfredo, let him know that I gave him a shout out. I really appreciated that comment. I've heard it before in a different way. The way he said it today was very fitting because it really means something when you understand, because he too is an American Cuban. And we understand sometimes more clearly what generations of Americans don't seem to quite understand that freedom has to be defended, but it can't be by government. Government has no defense because government is only defending itself, expanding itself, growing large bodies of agencies by itself, grabbing more and more of our wealth. That's why Thomas Jefferson warned us that if, we're going to have a frugal government, it should not take from the mouth of what we've earned. Plain and simple, which means our wages. We shouldn't be taxed by wage, only by income, by earned income, investments, in risk capital. Because we know that everything we invest in requires public infrastructure. Roads to get to our businesses, roads to deliver our goods, roads to sell our goods, ports, peace and tranquility, and a navy out in the middle of the sea to basically secure our shipping lanes. Look, while we're celebrating, Ambassador Haley of the United Nations calling a special session of the Security Council to discuss the danger out there that is North Korea. They've got a rocket right now that landed in the direction of Japan that could easily reach Alaska. So before we look up in the skies today for these fireworks that we're about to have as soon as the sun falls, think about these fireworks and close your eyes and pray that one day those fireworks are not intercontinental missiles from our enemies. One of the big perils of being free is believing you're going to be living under eternal sunshine. We can easily be enslaved. We're in serious debt. The statists are all around us. They don't even find it to be a bad word. They think that government is good just because a couple of their friends are in government and they're good. Government is not good. I read the Declaration of Independence of a tyrannical king imposing his government on the 13 colonies of the United States. There was a list of grievances there, some of which we have problems still by a central government of the United States. It's not tyrannical, but I guarantee you, taxing our inheritance is tyrannical. To tax somebody alive and tax them when they're dead, that's not right. The idea is to those who pull it off to spread their wealth among their friends. And those who do business with them, their children. Everybody gets rich when we're all in it together, and we get rich together, meaning all the ships rise. But if we can't partake of our good fortune to make sure that the next generation works a little bit less than us, and I'm talking about time and effort, I'm talking about ease, ability to fund your mistakes. It is what it is, because we can easily be enchained. Just think of a bunch of Chinese coming to this country, owning our debt and demanding we pay them back. Think about that for a moment.